Hi, I'm Daniel, and I used to comedy upload Spongebob videos. I did a series of top 10s as well as other stuff, but I haven't made a Spongebob video in 4 months. I have been planning quite a long time to do a discussion of all 3 movies, 2 of which I barely talked about before, for the 25th anniversary. Well, there's 3 out so far, but more are announced I'll go over at the end. I've always wanted to make a video about SpongeBob the Water Problems, but SpongeBob the Run came out recently and I will defend it. And I also have thoughts on the first 2. I spoiled my opinion, but still watch if you want explanations. I consider throwing in the SpongeBob musical too, but it is made for a different medium, and I rank the songs for the last anniversary. I will continue making SpongeBob videos after this, I just needed a break. I am very opinionated and enjoy talking about the show. Even after over 20 videos, it will be more analysis ones because both did well in views. This will be a very long video, so I'm just going to go into it. Also will contain spoilers for all 3 films. Spongebob Squarepants movie is just classic. It was meant to be an ending, but it wasn't, a decision I'm neutral about. I have seen this film a yacht, and when I say a yacht I mean a yacht, and it doesn't get old. It is extremely memorable and has so many great scenes. Start, the live action parts are short and don't go on too long like the next 2. Pirates aren't just patchy and a different approach. You find tickets for the movie, sing the theme song, and it's funny. At one point in the movie it cuts them crying, and while you could argue it breaks the scene, I still think it works. There's also a good scene after the credits. This is on for so small that even if I didn't like it, it's easily ignorable. Now onto the SpongeBob part. The Krusty Krab 2 opens and SpongeBob wants to be manager, but he's seen as only a kid. Meanwhile, Plankton's plot is to steal Neptune's crown and frame Mr. Krabs for it. So SpongeBob and Patrick have 6 days to retrieve the crown in Shell City before Krabs is killed. This is the hero's journey across many locations that is overdone, especially in movies based on animated shows. However, this makes the story structure work by having the set piece be great, like the 2 guys who have everything, the pub and monsters. It helps out that your comedies this feature, and Dennis is following them and going for the same set piece in a more serious way. This choice gives conclusion for a lot of them, and really builds up how intense this character is compared to most SpongeBob antagonists. There's also a clever twist of the Cyclops being a scuba diver, and Shell City being a knick-knack shop. It's a fun end making use of the underwater setting, which is usually just ignored. This film has emotion with the theme of maturity that is connected to all set pieces in some way. The film knows when to have quiet moments, it's not constantly over the top wacky. For example, the part where SpongeBob and Patrick realised they were the ball-bearing babies. It took me 6 attempts to say that right. The moment the fetus SpongeBob started going home away from the pit, and of course, they're about to die by the light. In this scene, they are happy that they managed to make it into Shell City. Proving everyone who doubted them wrong and shedding a tear of happiness, almost accepting what will happen. That scene is truly powerful. Then there's the end with Goofy Goober Rock that I changed my mind upon. First I thought it was forced out of nowhere, and while there could have been foreshadowing for the guitar, it has the meaning with SpongeBob accepting who he is, which is better than a physical battle. Like SpongeBob the Water does, but more on that later. This movie majorly increases the stakes with everything going, and I think the story is great. This film is really funny, like the dramatic opening scene inserting the cheese, Ron Patrick having too much ice cream, and then them being told they can't get 10 seconds over the county line. And then their excitement over lasting 12 seconds. At this point I'm just listing scenes. I remember most of the movie, but it's still really funny. This movie definitely has peak SpongeBob comedy. Animation has improved over the show, like with the aspect ratio. The outline looks better, and it brings life to places, especially the scary backgrounds that look good. There's also good music here. I put Ocean Man as the 6th best SpongeBob song, it's that great. It describes and fits the film so well, it's hard to believe the song existed before. It is amazing. There's also other songs like Now That We're Men and the Goofy Goober songs that are actually in the movie. They're sung by characters well and fit what's going on. There are songs in the credits that are good here. I used to stay through it for the scene, but also songs. There's one that I can't find a song name for, which are right after Ocean Man. The title might be It Can Really Make You Feel Like a Man. It's nice and peaceful, which are contrasted by Just a Kid, which sounds great. And there's the original version of the Best Day Ever song. That was for the episode that I will continue to defend. There's also superb score in the other scenes. especially the track I'll See You in Hawaii. Music adds a lot to this movie, and all songs fit SpongeBob's style and fits the movie's story as well. For the characters, SpongeBob's arc is great, but I think the musical does some part better. In that, SpongeBob wants to be the manager of the Krusty Krab one day, and goes on a mission to start Volcano. The established in the team that Sandy is the brain, Patrick is the brawn, and SpongeBob has leadership skills. Journey ties to him being a manager, while in this movie there's no impression that SpongeBob is leading Patrick. Aside from that, it's still great and fuels the emotional part of the movie. Seriously, if you can find a SpongeBob musical, watch it. Patrick serves as SpongeBob friend and he isn't annoying. But, I said in a previous video one of my 3 points with the movie is the 6 days thing. It's just a joke and it's funny. When you think about how he could have got there 3 or 4 days earlier, it is a bit annoying. Patrick is still good here for comic relief and actually helps the journey sometimes like getting the key. Plankton has been elevating threat here and it's great. The original goal was to get the formula, but it makes sense to want power over Bikini Bottom. The mystery and suspense of Piancy really makes this feel definitive. Bob starts off important, but Rory end up being frozen waiting for them. However, he is nice here and cares about SpongeBob trying to find a way to explain it to him. Microphone joke is funny, but also shows this. Despite the Yai Now Here meme, Money is the only personality trait yet. Tune is different how he's shown the show, and he is so much better here. He is an antagonist but not a redeemable character. He is also good and helps with the whole mermaid magic placebo. And then there's the others. Squidward has a role of being a Krusty Krab 2 manager and misses his paycheck when Krabs is frozen. He's the only one that we know of who figured out Plankton stole the crown because he's the smartest character when his paycheck is messed with. But he also fell into a trap by telling Plankton directly instead of going to Neptune first. So an idea suggested the other characters having a revolution, that failed, and that could work. However, I doubt there'll be time when the main focus is on SpongeBob and Patrick. Still feels a bit wrong that Sandy only has 2 lines. But I don't mind with Miss Puff Pearl, I don't even think Yai was in the movie's dialogue. Even with all that, this would have ended SpongeBob on a high note. I can't think of a better movie to come from SpongeBob. It's not perfect, but it's probably part of my top 10 movies. Very rewatchable fun. I didn't make a big enough point of how amazing the comedy is. Even if someone hasn't seen that much SpongeBob, it's still worth watching. I might be biased, but if it counts, it's probably in the top 5 SpongeBob episodes. So, there's 2 old movies that I have even more to say about. This will be a young video. It took 10 years for the next one, which was quite young, so how are the sequels? Sponge Out of Water is a second movie. We need the story, I know, superheroes. Lost in the last 15 minutes. This was rated recent in 2015. I know that's 7 years ago, but when I first saw it, I think I liked it, but now I'm mixed. There's a decent amount of good stuff, but also major problems. The film starts with a pirate stealing a book from an island, it's almost good. But then the pelicans show up. I hate them, they appear very briefly but are so annoying. Pirate, whose name is Beggarbeard, starts reading the SpongeBob parts. Starts with a war scene using food, and it's very creative and great. Gets no Plankton plot to steal the formula, and then the formula disappears and Plankton is blamed. SpongeBob teams up with Plankton in a great character moment for both of them. But without Krabby Patty's, Bikini Bottom turns to an apocalypse in minutes. This part of the movie is funny, then time travel is involved, and I enjoy 2 of the sequences, one I'll get to later. He steals the formula from the past version himself, but it's the wrong one, and that was built up. It should be near the end of the story, but wait is another 30 minutes. This movie is dragged out for not for normal reasons. Pacing is fine, but it should have been shortened. The main characters go into the service and do trailer scenes. This is not an original plot even for SpongeBob. That itself isn't a problem, more how this is a collaboration of multiple SpongeBob plots like Fun and Merry Man 5. How did they get to breathe on the surface? Oh, there's a magical dolphin named Bubbles. I hate him being random with nothing more to it. It was there earlier in one of the time travel scenes and was angry at Yoss's job, and he tried to kill SpongeBob and Plankton. Then shows up later implying he has some time machine powers and gives them breathing abilities. Annoying how this is a story point and he switches minds so quickly. Later they turn themselves into superheroes, which you can tell is way of pandering and getting attention from the movie. Because it's popular in the 2010s to be heroes. It also comes complete out of nowhere with no foreshadowing. The film could have brought up Merman and Barnacle Boy, who were already heroes in the SpongeBob universe. Could have been used an example of teamwork, or have that be why SpongeBob choose to make them heroes. So, hero them all over the poster and marketing. The hero aspect doesn't do much, and I bet you in the actual movie, there was a chasing across the city and that's it. Then they send themselves back, but at least Squidward got a good ending for once. The story is a mess for taking a turn suddenly changing into a mediocre hybrid. Should have been a TV movie, but this time an actual plot for once. Even Birthday Bureau, the best of the three, still has little story although you like the episode. However, it keeps going when it could have been good. It's not a working movie and the ending is wacky and poorly written. Parts work but surrounding mediocrity. The comedy is quite funny with many funny moments. The line all background characters come with me stands out to ya. There's the trailer stuff that's on the nose but could be worse. It still wants to be random with stuff like bubbles and pelicans, but it's overall decent. Animation looks incredible with the 2D being high quality. I wish there was more like this. Time montage are a cool look and style to them, and the occasion and clothing is where it truly shines. The live action looks a bit cheap, but it still feels like SpongeBob. As for the hero designs, I don't like how SpongeBob's body is just his head. The others look good, especially Krabs and Patrick. Sponge Out of Water is visually great. On to the music now. Teamwork is definitely a weaker fun, but it's still quite good. The cut song Thank God It's Monday opening that was used to advertise the film. It's a good song, but I prefer the war opening to this. Then, Squeeze Me is used in time travel and credits, and this is a good song. And the line of characters in the credits is entertaining. Patrick's star song is after, and somehow pronounces King is gay. I can't be the only person who heard it that way, and the not even similar words. There's also a Sandy song right after. It's a more pop and yes SpongeBob yike, but still fine. Before the credits there's a rap battle, and I hate that type of video. Trend is dumb and the movie was about to end normally, but then the worst characters have won. It has poorly written lyrics and is very forced. Animation style's okay, but I can't stop how awful this song is. I've already got the worst cut out of the way, now on to the rest of the characters. SpongeBob saving Plankton because he knows he's innocent is a great moment, and they have a good team up, but SpongeBob doesn't have as much to do. He is still cheerful and happy, but there's not much conflict or an arc. That's what Plankton is doing, yearning to be a TM or team. And in the end, he says that the formula shouldn't be kept by one person, but that's what Krabs is doing and the movie forgets this fact. It's had potential, yet got handled in the first 40 minutes. It doesn't work that well. The end fails because I get to the status quo. His revert is sad. This was written like a redemption, not a villain temporary teaming up with the heroes. If only another SpongeBob movie could do this better. Beard is the villain and a poor one at that. He has little personality and no motivation while getting money by selling quiet parties. He cut out a backstory so he has nothing to add. How did he find out what the booking quiet party is? Oh, there's no way of ever knowing. Now the other characters. In the first movie they got sidelined but got your screen time so it very matter a standalone movie. This however has them come with them on the journey and still do nothing. Perhaps Sandy, Squidward, even Patrick have little to do here. This film only focuses on SpongeBob and Plankton while everyone else is failed with maybe one moment. I don't like when people say it's handled the characters better than the first movie, because being there isn't enough and this isn't good use. I wouldn't recommend this film to a non-fan, and even as SpongeBob enjoys its poor, it is vastly worse than the first. The trailers were misleading, and that shows it could have been a worse 4 hybrid, where it's even more annoying when the first 40 minutes tease a good story, only to be badly structured into whatever this is. It is consistently funny and looks brilliant, but it's held back a yacht. It's not savvy to SpongeBob. Average season 4, 5, and maybe even 8 sometimes are better. But after the show improved with Heisenberg back, so that's positive. There's some moments out of context that work, but it's not worth it. It's only a 5-year gap to the next originally titled It's a Wonderful Sponge that I will defend. Sponge on the Run has a history of being delayed. At first till 2019, then it got moved to May 2020. What the issue with this release date with your 2020 vision? In the summer, it got cinema release for only Canada. Then in November, it was released in next to the home release, except the USA. It was held back for the rebranding of Paramount Plus, which should be coming to the UK soon. I wish it could stay the same on HBO Max. Its digital release happened and became controversial because most disliked it. I reviewed it when the film first came out, and while it's an old video, I made some good points that I'm stealing from myself here. Plot is that Gary is taken by Poseidon, so SpongeBob and Patrick go on a journey to Atlantis. This movie has pacing issues. Typically, there will be many occasions on the journey as the year in the essence, basically just the first movie. However, there's only one with zombie pirates that's weird and it just goes on for so long and makes me wonder why. Should have been more shorter pit stops or just get straight there. But at least we gain Sage from it and nothing else. Also, it's convoluted whether it's a dream or not. The plot is similar to how we see in the snail at first glance. There's no similarity aside from using Gary. Also, I would argue it's better. I think this movie is similar to, it's just the worst version of the first movie. It's the epitome of we have the SpongeBob movie at home. The stories in the original having similarities so you have other plots. The scene pointed out tropes where SpongeBob and Patrick argue whether this is a bully movie or about a solo hero. Seeing the other people point out a character, but that's the point of this one-off joke. But the fallout that they make fun of is done later. It is still done quite comical, how they open prison gates but still stay in there. And the sage annoys reaction to them, it is still done in a self-aware way, mocking this genre of storytelling. However, the first movie is actually better, somewhat making fun of it, also telling an emotional story with the journey. I previously said in my review that this should be younger, but I changed my opinion about that because parts is very dragged out, like the pirate scene, the chase, and as much as I enjoyed the opening, it takes 20 minutes for the story to properly start. The Batista has a poor 3-act structure and then expunge out of water. Kamp koral part is very controversial, and while it's not great, it isn't in any way problematic. It comes out of nowhere aside from one scene area, it should have been built up more. It's still more built up than the hero stuff last film. Shorter than crowd parts and there's nothing with Plankton, when he's in the spin-off too, he's a villain but still had importance here. Speeches themselves are better than the actual flashback, what they say about SpongeBob. While saying he's a good person doesn't excuse the crime, point is still got by these speeches, and at least Patrick pointed out how it shouldn't be a crime to begin with as actual defense. Flashbacks have younger voices that are so much better. The reason the show doesn't work aside from animation and bad stories. Like how the adult voice actors are playing the kid versions. Having different voices is good, although young Patrick sounds a bit off. But the flashbacks are so simply and basic they're not worth talking about, but I like Squidward's story. It does cause confusion if SpongeBob and Squidward are the same age. Especially since he had Guiding County in the show. The thing is, this isn't even count account Coral, and I think they started this part before starting the show. SpongeBob and the run was apparently dedicated to him Bear, with them all coming together to save him, and that adds to a lot of their speeches being aimed at him. This is probably one of the last SpongeBob things he worked on, and the film has an emotional core, despite some moments in the film putting it down. However, this movie got a lot of controversy because the spin-off timing is suspicious. It was announced that the third movie will be a party prequel in a camp before his death, so this movie should be over 90% clear. And Tom Kenny mentioned in a one-off comment that he and Hittenberg found the change to CG weird at first, so it's unlikely. It can be some speculation, but it still shouldn't be hated when evidence is against it. The spin-off show wasn't announced before the release, there will be better reception for this film. Don't think it would have been praised or even killed, but the whole country being eye for eye is not good. Talk about that whole convoluted situation in my Patrick Star Show review. Oh, it's also fake continuity with see how SpongeBob met everyone in different episodes, but I think this movie isn't canon. There's a different Atlantis, the real of the sea is different, and the ending with snails going to Bikini Bottom will be mentioned after. Camp Coral TV show tries to make it canon with Dumb Time Traveler Sandy. This exists in a different Camp Coral canon, meaning SpongeBob continuity always made no sense before this. I talked about that for more than I should have. This movie is unorganized, but I think it feels like SpongeBob, which is an unpopular opinion. It retains the tone, but it's more like season 1 style, especially in the sign choices. I think that's an underrated season that has a more yay-back style. However, this has bigger stakes than anything in season 1. I think it has a plot point of how it's SpongeBob who stops Plankton not crabs. Could have done more with this, but it's an interesting idea. The story is very flawed, but I don't think it's quite bad, with many elements that are good or interesting. Comedy is mostly funny, it's well made and manages to be self-aware enough. There's still problems like the pirate scene. Just the whole thing aside from Sage. There's also more jokes that are on the nose that disrupt the movie's flow. Saying it's not a FaceTime app will be fine because it's technically a reference, but it's okay because Sage will know. He is a more humanized character. Bringing up examples after is too much. SpongeBob is supposed to be timeless, so though I can't see us aging bad, it's still too much of a pop culture reference for SpongeBob. Just that will be ignoring jokes that work, mainly from Sage and Patrick. Overall, good comedy with some exceptions. Animation is brilliant for giving CGI a stop motion-like effect with the movement. Texture is very detailed and brings the world to life. Sandy's fair look too detailed at first, but you can get used to it. Some parts look a bit unfinished, but most shots are great to look at. Stuff like the board transition recapture Bikini Bomb we're used to. Before you miss it's a bit darker yet. The Krusty Krab kitchen has too dark green that's very recognisable. That seems to be to build up the new world of Atlantis that is very bright and colourful. Coral look great and bright here. Wish they kept the design at that pace up. The signs don't do a good job getting with live action. Don't know how to explain it other than it just looks wrong. The animation is still incredible. Music is weaker here than in the previous movies. Aqua is a rap style that's more average. Secret to the Formiest You is actually good with the music being great and everyone singing. They aren't all the best at singing, but they still are good in context. Even the Vida Yoko is here, and while it is a song made on its own, the song is now being slowly associated with Shrek 2. I also don't like the constant pauses and when they start to sing it's about transition. Take on Me is the use of pop culture music, where lyrics mean nothing but it fits the ending's tone. Music isn't bad, but the credits aren't great like the other two movies. Now the characters, SpongeBob is the protagonist and the plot is all about him. It does cause issue with another character, but here he actually has an arc unlike SpongeBob the Water. It's about him gaining confidence and realizing he has a positive impact on the people around him. It's nothing complex or even like the first movie, where it works with how it ties to conclusion. The movie might be one of the best Patrick portrayals. He is funny because being dumb is the only personality trait, and he is actually helpful. Some of the time, that's the best you can get with him. Beastie is trying to encourage SpongeBob. The best thing is his speech, where at first you think he is messing up for comedy by saying this guy broke the law. However, it's a surprisingly smart moment for his character, but to say a problem, the film forgets that both SpongeBob and Patrick get in trial since it's all about SpongeBob here. Harry isn't MacGuffin in the plot as a goal for our heroes, but has more characterization than usual. Captain's arc may seem to make Sponge out of water, but it is different in execution. Krabs just gives him the formula he doesn't want it because he realised it wasn't a fair way to win. He also feels bad by going too far, giving Gary away, so he helps him on the journey. It makes sense that he doesn't stay good after this because it isn't like a permanent redemption. But also, still doesn't need to throw in him still in the formula at the end just to specify that it's not changing canon. The plot isn't original compared to your other villains, but it's better than Sponge Out of Water and a minor plot point. The three main characters actually do things here when joining them in the third act. Krabs actually misses SpongeBob and it's more like his early season's betrayal. Andy and Squidward both have young speech representing their characters. It uses all 7 characters well and is dedicated to the franchise. It's not essential, but it's a nice touch. As far as new characters, there isn't much, but at least they are there. Sage is funny and story important. He is great in almost every scene he's in. Like Poseidon being a weak warrior villain with a poor redemption forced in. Also, when he speaks I can only hear Mercury Disenchantment and Bubbles from the last movie. In terms of incorporating the show's characters, it is better than the first. I only wish most of it wasn't just a weaker movie. It's not subversive and has multiple problems, mainly in the story, but for what it is, it's a good movie that I'll give 8 out of 10. Though my rating system at 8 out of 10 means yes to most people's. If someone has barely seen SpongeBob, this could work, but it's not great. Still, this movie is massively overhated, and I just feel your criticism that I'm a foul sponge and a run defender. If it came in theatres, it would be a bit disappointing, but digital release is a way better fit, like it is for most movies. In conclusion, the first movie is the best by a yacht. Judging by a poll by Alpha J, 93% agree. I think SpongeBob only a second, which is an unpopular opinion, but I can't understand the 1%. But even understand the 6% more. There's going to be way more SpongeBob movies. There's a 4th movie in the main series that is getting repetitive. I hope it's not too similar to the previous, and it keeps up all 3 having different visuals. There's also 3 spin-off movies announced. The one we know is a Sandy movie. Some hope for it more than a spin-off show. The main question is, can Sandy work her own? There's going to be a yacht at once and we don't know the other 2. Something I would want is a Mermaid Man movie. It was established in previous episodes and it can do superheroes better than Sponge Out of Water. If there has to be spin-off movies, I pick that easily. We'll have to see if they're good, although I have mixed feelings as of now. And I will hopefully review them when they come out. This is my youngest video by over 5 minutes. And there's about 40 pages in total. It was a review of 3 movies, but they abandoned the best one or worst one title scheme. On a personal note, SpongeBob Anniversary Means a Yacht since 2 years ago was my first video to get yacht reviews quick, yay. At that time, I've improved the yacht since the 30-second video. SpongeBob Squarepants is one of the best shows with a yacht to talk about. So, I'm celebrating the anniversary with a very young video on the 3 movies that I can tell will be a pain to edit. Also, as I'm recording, I'm very close to 200 subscribers. But if I hit it before this video is up, thank you, so here's a very young video. The end.